and welcome to another episode of Podcast 572. As always, I'm your host, Kyle. I'm joined by my two friends, Dan and Matt. We're in the thick of Final Fantasy 16 season. You are probably further than I am, Dan. But in a minute here, I'll tell you where I am, and we can figure that out. But we actually are going to start with an email today because we got an email specifically about Final Fantasy 16. I believe it's directed towards you mostly, but
I figured.
Brad from Waterford Township, Michigan says, "Hey dudes, was curious how you all are enjoying Final Fantasy 16. I was so hyped for the game, and I have to say after putting 10 hours into it, I'm left disappointed. The combat is decisively action-oriented to the point of feeling more like a Devil May Cry than any Final Fantasy game I've played. I feel like they've stripped down and out even a lot of the RPG elements of this game, and I just can't help not being able to get into the story. I'm dying to know, with Dan being a hardcore Final Fantasy fan, how he feels about the game. Thanks." I'm not. The first thing I'll say is I'm not surprised. I have seen this reaction over the internet.
I mean,
to this game because it is very different.
It's different
for a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
With that being said, I'm enjoying it. I think you are too.
This might upset him, but I actually really, really like it.
I'm in the same camp because it's so different, and that's refreshing. So I've thought. Go ahead.
No, I admit that they've stripped a lot of RPG elements out of it. Like even stuff is as simple as leveling up. It doesn't really feel like anything's happening because so much of it is dependent on me doing the actions and actually making combos and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't use any of the cheat ring stuff. I get why people would, but I decided not to do that because that makes the game easier, and that's not necessarily what I'm here for.
I didn't know what it was, and I turned them on, and I was like, "Oh, I know."
I messed around with it for a little bit in the beginning, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I get it." Where it basically makes the game play itself for you.
It does.
But I like the combat. The combat's actually pretty good. And I was telling you the other day that the thing that I'm surprised I like the most is I like the story the most. I didn't think I would.
I like the story a lot too. It is definitely kind of cliched.
It's
very much so with the two brothers, and then I think I did this, but no, I didn't actually do this. Kind of a thing without spoiling it.
Yeah, but there might be. We might accidentally drop a couple spoilers, but it's nothing that you don't really learn within the first. I would say 5 or 10
I'll tell you where I am.
Game.
I just that Jill chick has just kind of woken up. And then we left together and went to this town. The last mission. Okay. The mission I'm on now is this one guy in this town's like, you need to go talk to this guy who was an admirer of your father. That's where I am.
Yeah.
I figured you're probably much further than I am.
I'm much farther. I've done, more boss fights and stuff than you. I think we
boss
did talk.
You
did do the one icon fight, which
that
fight is really good.
It reminds me of this will maybe be bad to some people, but the Godzilla game, the way that it controls, kind of not in a bad way.
Yeah, I know it's kind of like the
you have
King
way
Kong
more
game
control.
Was too. Yeah,
you have way more control over it than you would think.
Yeah, you are actually fighting. It's not just there does tend to be some quick time stuff when the battle's over.
Yeah,
but that's to have it play out cinematically.
They have those cinematic ones too, where it's cinematic hit, and that's fine. Yeah,
because they use those icon fights as story dumps. That's what you learn a lot about. When you should say that the next one,
icon is spelled EIKON.
Right. Well, it's summons or AIs
very stupid in a very good stupid way.
Espers or whatever you want to call them in this one, but they use them as story exposition for sure because. I think you know this without me telling you probably already, but what you think happened in that first big fight didn't actually happen.
I know that.
So it's silly to me because they kind of spoiled some of the story with the marketing where
a little bit.
The first big fight is Phoenix versus Ifrit, and your brother is the Phoenix. But it's I already knew I'm Ifrit from the marketing. That is in the trailers for the game. So that whole fight, I will say that fight does end pretty brutally, and you're like, "Geez,
the game is
very violent."
It is M-rated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In the first like 10 minutes, we have like people in this universe, or like this Final Fantasy universe, I guess, because each Final Fantasy is different.
Mhm.
People are smoking the crystals, man. Like straight
Oh,
up.
A lot of
shit.
like
Breaking them up and just smoking.
Yeah.
People are fucking like it's not the Final Fantasy you expect. It is very adult.
Okay.
Final Fantasy.
It is also, like I said, it is hyper violent, which is shocking in some points, because I told Kyle one of the craziest things that I've seen so far is I've already seen 2 people get throwing axes to the neck in this game. 2 different people. I said that's a lot. Like, that's not a lot of times, but it's strange that it's happened twice.
In a Final Fantasy game.
In a Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
One guy gets crushed by a boulder within like an hour of you playing. It is insane. Like multiple decapitations. Like everyone dies. The game also does a lot of like time jump stuff. So it is kind of up to you to fill in what happened in between. They do a very good job of that, because you can either go talk to the guy and like tell him your stories, and like he fills up the knowledge base of the game and you can go read that.
Okay.
Or they have that active time war thing.
I was
like
gonna
anytime
say,
you're in the middle of something, you're like, oh, who was that guy? You can just hold down the touchpad and it'll bring up relevant story information and stuff. Which is neat.
It's really cool. It's called active time lore. So like when you press that button, it'll have different bubbles you can click, and it'll say like, here's the history of the town that you're in, or here's the history of this character you're going to talk to.
You can
it's
talking to somebody
really
like,
neat.
who was that? What was that guy's name? And you can pull it up, and it's right there. And then
it's really neat.
Later on, you can find like a family tree, or like a web thing where it shows how everyone's connected.
Oh, that's cool.
And it also shows like how it changed over time. Okay. It's like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, stuff like that, which is interesting because, it's been, by the time I'm at the point where I am now, from where you are, it's 5 years later. Something else major has happened between where you are and I am. And it's pretty major. Like, the downsides to the game, because like I love the story, like I like the action. The downsides to the game are it is not open world like in any way. Like the areas, the areas I'm in now do tend to get bigger as you go through them. And you see enemies on the field running around, and but it's not like it's just one giant map you run around. You pick to go to places, or you can teleport to places. That kind of takes me out of it a little bit. And there isn't really much else. Side quests are boring. That came up in a lot of reviews, and it's true. A lot of it's like, can you take this to these people? Yeah, okay.
that like enclave you get to, it's literally like a chef asking you to take the food to the table for some of these
that's
people.
Your introduction.
That's a
to
side quest, man. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
But that's like your hub-based thing. And then there's another one where it's like, go kill these things at this place for me. Okay, and you go do that. There hasn't really been much variety to that. I've finally unlocked hunts. So like there's a job board, or not a job board, but like a hunt board, and you go up. That's
cool.
It doesn't work the way it should. It really just kind of tells you that these are the 3 that you're looking for right now. And it kind of tells you where to find them, but you cannot mark them on your map. You have to go find them.
Oh, okay.
Which is not hard to do if you know where things are. But if you don't know where things are, it is. I've killed a couple of those so far. Those are fine. Those are just like more intense, regular fights. The other thing too is like bosses, when you're playing as Clive, seem to have like an artificially high number of hit points meant to make the battle take longer, and that's the only reason it's there.
They do, for sure.
I still don't feel. I won't say I don't feel powerful because I don't die. But it takes, fights take a long amount of time compared to probably what they should. I mean, like I'm excited to keep going. I'm excited to see where it goes. The whole like icons and summons and who you are is interesting so far. And when you start to learn more about how that works, and unlock abilities associated with it, it's really cool because you can kind of mix and match stuff and find stuff that works the way you want.
I'll say, so the game does have both a performance mode and performance mode and then a quality mode. So the quality mode's 4K 30, locked 30. The performance mode is, I think what I read was 2K, but it's very much unlocked. It's not locked 60. It's just unlocked frame rate.
Yeah,
So it bounces around. What's weird is it is locked anytime you're in a battle, and that looks really good. Like anytime you're in a battle, it runs pitch perfect.
Yeah,
but when you are outside of battles, like in the like overworld or whatever you want to call it, the part of the maps that you're in, like exploring, it can tank.
Well, I can tell you why. It's because it is trying to run that whole map at one time.
Oh,
like,
I know.
Because you can see things off in the like there isn't really like pop in. It's like I can tell that enemies are out there because as you get closer to they're there.
The thing I'll say is like, unlike Jedi Survivor, where like it had a frame hitching problem on top of an unlocked frame rate, that's not a problem here. So it's not unplayable. Whereas like Jedi Survivor, I had to stop playing it because it was literally unplayable.
I haven't run into any problems with like it chugging, or I've seen some stuff online about people complaining, but I haven't run into any of that kind of stuff.
I saw a thing today where like there's a certain story part where if you're playing in quality mode, like it can just like turn off your PlayStation.
That's interesting.
Like it overheats the system.
Yeah.
So
I haven't. My system hasn't really.
But I'm not playing
or anything while I played it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I really like it. I'm excited to see where it goes. Would I change some stuff about it? Yes. Does it make me consider what I would want out of a 17? Yes. The weirdest part about it is like you can tell it was made by the guy who made 14. Because there are elements to it, like characters like kind of look like that. Like he clearly had an influence over that because even NPCs in this game look really good.
Yeah,
they do look very good for what you would consider to just be an NPC.
It's nice that this is a game that, at least for right now, it's on one platform, and it shows they like spent all their time on this one platform. So it looks good for that reason.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder what I would want out of a 17, and that's going to be so far away that what's even the point to think about?
Let's say 2030.
I mean, if we're lucky,
realistically, that's
lucky,
probably
sure.
Yeah,
but
they're not pumping out another one.
Part of me plays this game and thinks, and someone who's played a lot of 14 and 11, like, why can't we find a way to make a game that is like 14 but single player? Like there is a way to do that. Like 14 is a giant open world where I'm constantly running around doing quests and stuff, and like you live in this world. I get that 16 is supposed to be more of like it's a story and we're telling this very direct story, but 14 has an incredibly deep story, and it's been going for years.
I'm actually not put down by the fact that the game is not open world, because I'm at the point where like that's refreshing to me.
Sure.
Because every game's selling point today is we have an open world.
Yeah, you're right.
And the fact that this doesn't, I think, makes it more refreshing. I will say, like, the early parts of the game are very linear, where I was kind of concerned. But you get to a point where, like, you'll get to a part of the map that's so open, it doesn't matter.
It does take a while to get to that part.
It does take a little while.
Even then, they're still telling you, like, hey, you need to go here, but you can branch off and kind of explore. The only downside to that is there's not really anything to find. Like, it's very obvious when side quests are available because they're marked. I wish there was more of like things to go find or hunt for, or you go down this path that maybe you don't have to go down to, and there's a guy at the end who says, hey, I need your help or whatever. Like, I wish there was more discovery to the game and it not just kind of telling me what to do and where to go. It's okay because that's the story of it, but it makes me wish that we could have a game that was like 14, where it was big and you could, and you could just be like a carpenter for a couple days if that's all you wanted to do and go do this stuff. Because
the other thing I'll say about it is, like, it has probably some of the best voice acting in a modern video game.
I think people complained a lot before because they're like, oh, why are they making everybody British and all this stuff? I don't even notice it anymore.
The guy that plays Sid, spoiler, there's a Sid in the game. He is the same dude that's the one guy that helps you at the beginning of Diablo 4.
Yeah. Sid is great.
He has that like very like distinctive British voice. That dude's great. And that Sid character is great. There's a lot of smoking in this game.
Well, yeah, he loves it. He
also likes to smoke. Dude. Yeah, I noticed that. Like, there's a lot of smoking in this game.
Everybody does. So far, the villains and stuff, like, there's a pretty clear one early on, but that gets taken care of relatively quick, I would say. And then, I'm kind of, now that it's 5 years later, there's another guy I have to focus on. And of course, he's another icon guy. It's the other weird part about the game I don't necessarily like is I don't like necessarily seeing the story from all sides. Like it kind of, I get it's like to show me like their motivations and stuff, but
yeah,
if I am Clive and I'm only playing as Clive, and even when there's other people in my party, I'm only Clive. Maybe focus it more where like I only see his point of view and that tells the story.
Is the Game of Thrones influence on this game, which is very evident. Like,
I don't need to know everything that's going on with everyone all the time.
Because that's how that show was, and that makes sense why they kind of applied that here in this game, because it's very heavily
it jumps around.
by Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it jumps around,
and it jumps around a lot. So, but I'm having a wonderful time with it, with the point where I'll finish it and then I'll go back to Diablo and I'll probably sit on that hard mode or whatever New Game Plus thing, because that does sound interesting.
I'll have to see how I feel when it's over.
Yeah, like I don't think I would want to jump right into it. Yeah. I'd probably hold off a little bit, but
yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends on how it finishes and if I'm still, feeling it by the end, because I am someone who does every side quest and does every hunt and all that kind of stuff and does everything.
Yeah. I will want to do all that again a second time?
I don't know if I want to do it immediately, especially if it is going to end up taking me 60 hours. I will say there's one thing that greatly annoys me about the game is he talks to the dog too fucking much.
Okay.
Like in the middle of the battles, he's just always been like, because you could tell the dog to attack or heal or whatever.
Yeah.
He does not need to say something to the dog every single time I push the button.
It should just be understood. Like,
yeah, it's just understood. Or like one out of every 4 times. But every single time you tell the dog to attack, he's like, go get him. Do this. Let's go. Do that. I need help. Do this. It's like, fuck, dude. Like,
yeah.
I don't need you to do that. And he only says like 3 different lines, so they repeat each other constantly. It's just another one of those cases where like Horizon, where the character just talks
too much where it's
in
like
the middle of things where they don't need to be talking.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So, but no, like I'm enjoying it.
Oh, and the music's great too. I love like the music
is
like,
very
during
epic.
The fights, it is perfect.
They spent some money on the soundtrack.
Yeah, they did.
This game. So.
But I really feel like when I did you'll know epic. the next big fight, because you go through what I would call like the first dungeon in the game, which dungeons in this game are not dungeons. They are just like go room to room and do stuff.
Yeah.
But like when you get to that fight is insane. And like the music and just like how brutal it
like
gets.
Even when I not the very beginning of the game, but when you go through that fight again with the Phoenix, like the second time, like that got my girlfriend to come out of the kitchen and be like, "What is going on?"
Oh yeah, because you do the first part
music
twice.
Is absurd.
Yeah.
So and she like was even like, "What is this game you're playing?"
Yes, yeah. When you finish this dungeon 2, that's when you get like a major kind of like what is actually going on with Clive kind of a thing, and the music and like. It's that's emotional, cool. And you'll understand when it happens. But like something happens where you're just like, oh shit, and then it kicks off again, and they do a really good job of that, where they set stuff up and it pays off, even in little chunks.
Yeah,
but I love it. But with all that being said,
I understand why hardcore,
why people don't like it.
Final Fantasy fans might be a little disappointed, especially if you were disappointed in 15 kind of going.
Yeah, if you didn't like 15, this is going to.
That was like a half step to this in many ways. So I could maybe understand why you would be upset, because this is straight up just an action game.
Oh,
it has
15
light RPG elements.
Like you said, it kind of took and moved that way, because even though you were only Noctis, like. They eventually made it where you could play as the other guys, and you could still kind of tell them what to do. Now in this, even if you have other party members, the only thing you could tell anyone to do anything is the dog.
Yeah.
Which he does a couple basic things which do help. So it's good to have him there. But if you struggle with 15, 16 might be worse.
Worse.
But I came around. I also didn't like 15 a lot in the beginning. And then when I
put it down for years, and then that was my second COVID lockdown game.
Yeah, I liked it more when I played it again in 2020.
That became one of my favorites. So
it's pretty good.
The only other thing I think any of us have played is Diablo. I'll let you talk about it in a second, Max. I think you've played more than we have. I was able to play maybe 2 different times with my girlfriend now, so she's made a character, but then she went camping, so I haven't played any more Diablo. I've just been playing Final Fantasy. What about you, Matt? I know you've played more Diablo.
So I have played around more with like I have my necromancer, I have my sorcerer, and I actually went back into my necromancer and tore apart all his abilities.
Okay.
And went back through parts of the tree to kind of see how it would change and how it plays differently in the game.
That's cool. So
like I've been playing around more with that idea, like seeing which one works out best and whatnot. I don't know how much further in the game I really am because I keep getting stuck in dungeons and like other side, like areas, and then realistically, I am trying my hardest to get through the whole campaign just so I can just say I'm done with it, and then that way I can like literally go off and do whatever else I want.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue is there's a lot of stuff in that game, and there's a lot of stuff that grabs your attention, and then sometimes like just like linking up with random people and like going through other stuff like that. Sometimes that's like catches you too. So I mean, it hasn't. I'm still enjoying it. Like I'm still having fun with it.
That game has the opposite problem where like the side quests are almost too interesting compared to the main quest sometimes. Where it's like I'd rather go do this right now.
And that's I think the biggest problem is I keep getting caught up. And the same thing I was having in Assassin's Creed. I keep getting caught up in doing side stuff where I'm like forgetting that there's an actual game and that there's stuff that has to be like Lilith is a bitch and you have to do something to get rid of her. Like that's where you're at. And like I think that's my biggest problem. So like I've been playing more of the campaign. I'm not too sure exactly how far into it I am. My necromancer's a level 40, my sorcerer is I think a level 20 something right now. And
are you enjoying the sorcerer now that you've played more?
Dude, she's
that character's
so cool,
really
man.
good. Yeah,
she's badass.
I told Kyle I was saving her for my first season.
Yeah, season.
That's actually not a bad idea.
You have to make a new character for seasons. I was like, I'll just wait and start one then.
Yeah.
So I think I'll wait and start the druid up next. The next when the season starts, because I really want to play as him. I saw somebody do a video of their abilities with him, and that dude looked like fucking bad.
That was my girlfriend because, like I said, she was gonna play as she originally was like, I'll play whoever shoots arrows. And then she sat down and sat and took time to like read each character. And she's like, you can turn into like a werewolf. Yeah, I'm going to do that. And then she enjoys playing as that character. So, and that character seems really cool. So,
So, I mean, overall, I think all the characters are really good. There's a guy that, I used to play a lot of games with. He's really close to me. And this is his first Diablo game he's picked up. Okay. And he has like he's single, works. Like, I mean, dude ain't got nothing to do. So like he's already got 3 characters at like level 40 and 50 right now. But like he's having a blast with it. And like that shows you like, like people picking it up for the first time can have a good time with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
I got my necro up to like 55.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm just I'm like you, Matt, where I was like, man, I really just want to finish the story so I can not feel bad about getting like pulled off to go do dungeons or like the 20 side quests and all this other stuff I have to do. Yeah. So I'm like halfway through Act 3, but I kept getting distracted. And then now that Final Fantasy's out, like that's pretty much all I've done. So I think I might take a break from Final Fantasy when I'm done with like the first run.
That's what I'm gonna do
that. But I do want to get the second run in before Rebirth comes out, just because I don't want to, mix those together, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
As much as this is action based, like 7 Remake is action based too. Like there is a way to play that game somewhat turn based. So it is. It is the way that like the things are going. I would like to see maybe 17 just go back to turn based. I think I think
at that point you could
find an interesting way to do it. Like, I mean, 10 was turn-based, and it's one of the people's like favorites out of the entire franchise. And 10 is like, it's not even like 7 or whatever. There's like active time. 10 is straight turn-based to the point where they put the list of them on the side of the screen at all times. So if you can figure out some way to do that, that would be cool. Or just make Lost Odyssey 2, and we could all be happy with that.
That's the real Xbox exclusive I want.
That's the real Final Fantasy game.
Like, what? Phil Spencer, make it happen. I really want a Lost Odyssey too.
Lost Odyssey is a great game.
Oh God.
Or just remaster it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Remaster it for Series X. Put it on there on Game Pass.
Is that studio Mistwalker? Is that still a studio today?
Oh, that's a good question. I'll look that up.
You should look into that.
I'll look it up.
But I think that covers everything. I'm sure I'll be playing more Diablo in the next 2 weeks because my girlfriend will be back and she's going to want to play it. But we'll go ahead. We'll jump into news. The one news article I don't think I put in here, so I'm just going to mention it at the top because I predicted it last week. But the company that developer, whatever, that makes that Stray game had their like Summer Game Fest stream. So they did finally announce Stray is coming to Xbox One and Series systems August 10th. It is not on Game Pass, which is the one bummer. This is I'll probably just end up re-getting it because she'll want to play it on the Xbox. So it's exciting though for people that have not played that game. It is a wonderful game. It's not long. It's like it's not 2 hours. It's like 5 hours. Is that how long it took you, Dan, last summer when we played through Stray? Like 5 hours?
Yeah, I mean, somewhere
wonderful
around
game.
there. Yeah, you just kind of play through it, and it's really chill and cool puzzles. I mean,
really good game.
The only bad parts of that game are like the flood garbage stuff, but they had to add tension in some way.
They had to add some sort of tension. So, yeah. But that's a wonderful, wonderful game.
Great game.
So first thing I threw in here, just
all right,
real
quick. Mistwalker is still around. It still exists. He's still in charge. They just make iOS games now.
Okay. He needs to pick up the phone and call that guy and be like, let's do it. Let's remaster it. Let's remaster the first one, gain interest.
Yeah.
See how it does.
See what happens.
And then make a sequel.
Maybe after this Blizzard thing falls through and I have this money back, I just cut you the check instead.
Yeah, there you go. You want $69 billion to make Lost Eyes 2? The greatest video game ever made. $69 billion.
The last one was on 4 discs, so this one will be on what, 10?
Let's do it.
Damn.
Well, no, because that was before the blue. Because that was so it would be like if that was on 4 discs, it'd be like 2 now.
But I want it to be better, so it should be 10.
Okay, it should be 10 discs.
Yeah.
I threw this in here at the top of the news just because it came out. I actually have not tried it. I made a note to try it, and I just haven't because I haven't turned on my Xbox since I got Final Fantasy. Halo Infinite Season 4 launched. I put in here it's promising. I in the article people are talking about it, but I kind of I usually check the Halo subreddit to kind of gauge like if people care.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is the most hardcore community of like, do we like or hate this update? They seem to really like it. They did also add that like true rank system, so it's kind of like Halo 3. Like if you do good, you rank up. If you do bad, you rank down.
Yeah,
I always enjoy that in Halo 3, and I didn't know. I still to this day don't know why they got rid of that, and just really haven't done that for a long time in any of the Halos.
Yeah,
so
it was weird because like that actually gave you a reason to.
Yeah. I played so much of that Halo 3 multiplayer,
my buddy,
and that was the main reason.
When they added that system, my buddy was obsessed with the fact that that was how it worked.
Really cool idea. I just want to throw it in here, so I will try it in the next 2 weeks, so we can talk about it next week. They did also add Infection. Infection is insanely popular, and it's always the number one like mode that kids request every time there's a Halo game. So
can I ask you a question about Halo though?
Okay. Do I care about Infection?
Does any of that? No, but like, so all right. So they just did what, season 4, right?
This is season 4.
Does this matter anymore? Like, does anyone outside of the people that already play it care?
No, I would say
that's the problem, right?
It's not going to pull anybody in that maybe tried the game. Like, remember when it launched and then we had that like 6-week period where people were talking about Halo again for the first time in like 10 years?
Yeah.
It's not going to do that again.
Yeah.
Those people that played it and bounced off, you're not pulling them back in. This is just for the, 100,000, and that's probably a very generous number, but that are playing the game actively.
So what would what would they have to do with Halo now for people to give a damn anymore?
I think you just keep the answer I would give is you keep updating this like multiplayer. You cut the team, so it's a small part of that team that's doing updates like this every 3 months or whatever. Because they have actually been keeping the dates now. Remember in the beginning, it was like we delayed it. Like that first season was like a year.
Well, it was a mess.
It was a mess. They're actually hitting their dates now, so that's cool. But I would take the rest of that team, just go work on a reboot. Reboot
you think that's
Halo.
what the answer is? It's just to make
that,
Halo
that
one
is
again?
the answer. I think reboot Halo, start from the beginning. Maybe you don't even play as Master Chief.
Ooh, oh, you're talking like restart.
I'm saying reboot. It's been 20. It's at that 23-year mark now where I think you can get away with it. Make it and completely reboot.
Maybe it has to be something else. You're right.
So, or you go, if you really want to go really hard into it, you do play as Master Chief, but you go all the way back to his origins.
Oh, shit.
Like how he became, how he was taken, how he grew up, becoming the Spartan with all the kids and stuff. You could do that. I would be cool with that. So
that'd be
if you want to focus it on Master Chief and you want to reboot it, do that.
All right, but make it a cell-shaded visual novel that releases in 5 chapters, and each chapter takes 4 months.
Instead, we'll call it Telltale Games.
Telltale Games.
They haven't made one of those in a while. I think you reboot it though. At this point,
I mean,
I'll say this. I have talked to friend of the podcast, Ross, diehard Halo fan. If he agrees with me, which he does, that it should be rebooted and he doesn't care that Master Chief is there or not, it's time to fucking reboot the game.
Yeah.
Okay. Cause that is the only person I know that is a bigger fan of Halo and Master Chief than myself.
Yeah.
And if he's saying reboot it, I don't care, then it's time to reboot it.
Yeah.
So, cause that is wild. So, that's what I would do though, but I will check in with this, and I will report back the next time we record. I threw this in here because this was a promising game that was shown last E3, that Flintlock game, which it kind of looked like, what's that? You played it maybe last summer, the Spiders RPG. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Greedfall.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that type of game.
Oh, shit.
Flintlock, it has a full title, but Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be out on Game Pass this year. It got delayed into next year. I'm not surprised.
Greedfall was a weird game that, it showed up on, I think they gave it away for free on one of those things.
They gave it away
and
for free.
I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And somehow I got hooked on that game. It's not even that great, but it's just I got hooked in it.
Physical Xbox.
That's crazy.
The full version with all the DLC.
Yeah.
Because it was $10 on Amazon one day.
I believe it. But yeah, weird game. I think it's on Plus now. I think you can go get it on Plus. That's a weird game, but something about it kept me hooked, and I played a lot of it, and probably would have got the platinum if there wasn't make a safety save here and then make a safety save here, and you'd have to go back and redo 5 different. No, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Next 2 articles are related. The first thing that came out was it was kind of known, Metal Gear Solid 4 was originally being developed for both systems, and then Sony bought exclusivity for it. So originally that game was running on a 360, which, now proves that game can run on something that isn't the cell processor. Right. And then at the Nintendo Direct, which we're going to talk about in a minute, they showed a full trailer for now what's being called Metal Gear Solid Collection Volume 1. Mm-hmm. And so it leaked that there is a Collection 2 coming probably next year. Fucking Metal Gear Solid 4 is a part of it.
It seems like
so that means the first time.
Yeah, the way that their website is built is they updated a timeline on the website where all of the games that are in Volume 1, you can click on them and they go places. They have button, but if you look at the code of the website, there are placeholders for 4, 5. I would assume Ground Zeroes at this point, Peace Walker. And so it really seems like they're gonna, fill it in, kind of a thing.
I really hope that it happens because I so badly want to replay it 4.
It's been
not
locked,
on PS3.
It's been locked on PS3
15 years
since it came out.
15 years ago.
It's such a weird game to be locked on one system for eternity. But yeah, I mean, imagine we talked about it before too. I think that's one that just because of that people would really want to play again. And imagine what that game would look like now.
They'll have to do some work to it. So.
It will have to be probably structurally different.
Remember, Collection 1's they're not doing much work with Collection 1 because they already confirmed
they've already done those.
2 and 3 are the HD versions from 2011.
Right, we've already done all those is the thing. Yeah. But if you're going to do this, 4 would have to be structurally pretty different because even if it was running on 360 at one time and then when they stopped it,
they scrapped
it. Would have been worked to work with the cell after that point. And that's the main reason why it's been locked there forever. So
exactly,
this is almost like a remake of 4 if they're going to do this, which is crazy.
I wouldn't be surprised too if like this is like a next fall type thing that long away because of how much work probably has to be done.
Could be. When does Volume 1 come out?
End of October.
Okay,
like the 24th, I think.
2 wouldn't be. It would be at least 6 months.
It's in. You know what? It's in this October 24th. I was right. It's in this Nintendo thing. Yeah. So because that's where they showed the trailer. So. As we kind of talked about last episode and kind of like mildly predicted there'd probably be a Nintendo Direct. It happened. They announced it like what, a day before, maybe 2 days before.
It was like,
hey, we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
It was like we're gonna do it tomorrow. Like get ready. So, as we discussed, it was okay. It had one really huge announcement that
fucking
people are
fantastic, man,
ecstatic for. It had another one that I'm really excited. I don't know. We'll talk about it. Yeah. I'm excited about it. But it had good stuff, but it was very much that like, we're kind of seem like we're at the end of this generation for this system. It
seems like this Nintendo Direct at the end of it really, I was like, pretty good. It gave me essentially 2 bangers, and the rest of it just kind of seemed like we're in a holding pattern until we really know what the next system is.
Seems like
we're out of properties to kind of make for this system that aren't just straight sequels.
For sure. So we'll go through it. I believe we have it here in order.
Is in order, yeah.
Yeah, so they talked about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC that's out this fall. They talked about Sonic Superstars. I think we've already talked about that game last week.
That game still looks good.
What is Palia? Was that one of those indie games? I don't remember.
Yeah, it's an indie, like, adventure sim. You can make it your life.
Is it a farming game?
Of course, because there's like 9 of them now.
The Switch loves farming games.
Jesus Christ. In this Direct alone, we'll get to a couple more of them.
Okay. They talked more about Persona 5 Tactica here because, again, that game is on everything. It's on Game Pass day one.
It still looks great. I wouldn't play it on Switch, but it looks great.
No,
I wouldn't either. So,
no.
Myth Force, was this the like cartoon, like Saturday morning cartoon
this
type game?
This is a weird one because it looks cool, but who is it for?
Exactly.
When's the last time you saw a Saturday morning cartoon?
Oh, geez,
do they do Saturday morning cartoons?
I assume if you can put on Cartoon Network, they have something for kids today.
Does that even count anymore? Because that is a Cartoon Network. Like, that is the point of that. Is we show cartoons all the time. I don't have
cable, so I couldn't tell you if you turn on like Fox.
But I mean, realistically, kids are now they wake up and they grab their iPads and jump on YouTube.
They're on Netflix or whatever. When we were kids, Saturday morning cartoons, yes, they were a thing. I used to wake up early because
I did.
I think Spider-Man on Fox was on at like 7:30. And you remember
really early.
It's like, fuck, dude, the one I want to watch is 7:30 in the morning. And like, you couldn't, unless you had a VCR like that had like timed record functionality, you couldn't just tell it to do it. So but that was 90s.
But you also have to remember too, at that point in time, you had to wake up before everybody else got up
to get the TV.
To watch the TV.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't, cartoons are already you wouldn't watch it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, this game looks cool. It's another roguelike, first person. I kind of got like a Wonderlands vibe off of it. Okay. And it's just, I don't know. I don't predict that game's going to do well.
There's another Splatfest for Splatoon 3. This will be important to some people. I personally do not care, but there's a new Detective Pikachu game
with Tim
Detective
Goodman.
Pikachu Returns. Yeah, with Tim Goodman.
I love the way you would yell that dude's name.
Yeah. We'll talk the biggest announcement here, like earth-shattering. I never would have expected this in a million years. Super Mario RPG is fully being remade.
Yeah, it looks beautiful
for the Switch.
Yeah, it's not a remaster.
It looks wonderful.
It's a remake.
It is a remake of that game.
It looks incredible.
God, it looks incredible.
Yeah.
I've never pre-ordered a game faster.
I was happy.
No.
I was happy too because apparently it had leaked like a day or two before, and I just did not see that.
Yeah, I didn't hear about it either. I had no idea.
So when the thing came up and the music went off, I went, "Hold up, what?" And then
they do the thing in the beginning where it's like the old footage.
It's the opening.
Like, oh, are they just going to put it on like the Nintendo Switch Online thing? And then they just, boom, here's what it looks like now. And I'm like, oh, fuck, they're remaking it.
And then they showed like the music and they showed them running around. And then, everybody's Gino is there. Malo's there.
Yeah, that's my boy.
It's just crazy that they are fully remaking this game. I hope that they add like little things here and there just like to keep it fun, just because there's a lot of little Easter eggs in that game. I would like to see more, and maybe some more content of some kind. Like maybe there's an extra like bonus dungeon or something you can go through. Because I would assume most people listening to this have like played it in some way, because
I would assume
it was on. They did put on the classic, so at least it has like come out since it came out. But like this is more like a perfect Final Fantasy game is what it is.
Yeah, like what I'll say is, I think I said when I did a video on my channel about the Direct, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest was the first RPG I played. Mm-hmm. This was the second one.
Right.
Because it was Super Nintendo, I rented it because it was fucking Mario.
It's basically like a Final Fantasy like 4 game, because it even has a crossover with that game with like a secret boss in the game.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know. It was such a great game. I played it constantly as a kid.
Yeah.
I've beaten that game so many times.
Really looking forward to it. So that's out November 17th. So we even got a date. Like we're ready to go for it.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, I was like, well, I might as well just reserve that now. Because
I did that. There was one other in here I reserved right away too, and we'll get to it. They also announced there's no name for this yet, but they're making a Switch game that just stars Peach, which is cool. I mean, it's about time. Like if you think about it,
she had her DS game.
Yeah,
but do it now while Mario's hot, and like the movie made her a main character, and
absolutely.
I showed it to my daughter; she's super into it.
Yeah. They're remastering Luigi's Mansion 2 Dark Moon, so that's the 3DS game. That's fine.
Yeah,
I will play. Maybe I'll finally play it. I have it for 3DS, but I never played it.
I think I played a little bit of it. Yeah.
This one I find humorous. Yeah. Batman Arkham Trilogy. So they're putting all three, the good ones, obviously, not Arkham Origins.
Wait a minute.
That's a bad game. Just be glad my girlfriend's not home, because if she heard me say that, she'd come in here, we'd be in an hour. That's the only argument we ever get into.
Is Batman Arkham Origins is a good game.
We go back and forth.
Argument.
That's the only thing we ever argue about. I'm not kidding. Like
the
it's to
answer
the point
is
where like
no.
I avoid bringing it up, because if I bring it up, it's just like I'll walk out there when she requested like a couple, like maybe a month or two ago. She's like, can you get a copy of Arkham Origins? And I finally, located a copy, because it's one of the 360 games you have to have the disc.
Right.
I remember. Download it. And like every time I'll make a slide comment when I walk in, because like I've seen the game freeze. I've seen the dumb shit that I remember from that game 10 years ago. And I'm just like, oh, weird. I'm hearing the same dialogue again. Because
Batman is twice the size of every car.
Oh, yeah. I watched the Firefly fight and I'm like, wow, look at how Batman's not proportionally correct with that car. Just shut up.
Where you do that electrocutioner fight at the beginning, you punch him one time and it's over, and you're like, "What is this?" Game's just a joke.
But it's bad. I did like that dude as the voice of Batman, though, Chris Redfield. So, but see, I'll tell you. I'll tell you the argument, and then we'll move on. The argument is she likes the game because she loves the Joker, and it's a Joker origin story for Arkham. I dislike the game because I was promised Black Mask.
Well, that was one of the biggest like fucking hoodwinks.
Remember the scene where they like laugh and he's like, ha ha ha, and the thugs literally take the masks off and put on Joker masks.
GameStop conference. Remember before that game came out, and that was like one of the big booths at the thing. And I swear to God, they had like a dude there dressed like Black Mask. Like that's how hard they were leaning into. Like
they
this
leaned
is a
into
Black
it
Mask
really fucking hard.
And I was like that's a good idea, because we've just done Joker twice, right? Like, because this is before Arkham Knight, and we're like, okay, good. And then not even halfway through this fucking game, it's just him again.
Well, remember, too, the promise of that game is it's Christmas Eve. He's going to fight 8 assassins. You really only fight like 3 of them.
Yeah. Well, one of them goes down in a punch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But All right, we can be done with the sidebar of Arkham Origins. Be glad we can have that conversation when she's not home.
Now I'm getting hot about
it. Batman Arkham Trilogy. So it's Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight.
One final question about this. Like, who asked for this on Switch? Like, what are we doing?
You know, here's the thing I'll say. Without modding your Steam Deck, these games are not playable on the Steam Deck unless you run some mods. So
that's weird.
I could see a world where maybe somebody out there is like, I want to play that again. I don't think there's anybody out there that, like, unless they're very young, that didn't play these games when they came out.
I wonder who's doing the port, because it's definitely not Rocksteady, because they're a little busy.
They're a little busy right now. But yeah, I watched the trailer. I just kind of laughed because I'm like, I could see Arkham Asylum and Arkham City probably running okay on the Switch, not Arkham Knight.
Yeah, I would play.
The game had problems on PC when it
somehow
launched.
I was
stopped selling it.
Forced to play that. I would play Asylum and then just be like, I think I'm done. Like, yeah, that's all I need to play.
Gloomhaven is coming. This is cool. Here's the important thing. That's on everything. It's not just.
Yeah. I have it wishlisted for PS5 already. Like,
okay, Gloomhaven, I need to do that.
Yeah, if people don't know what Gloomhaven is, it is an insane board game. Like
it's like a D&D type.
It's
thing,
like it's like a pre-prepared D&D thing that you could like solo or play with like multiple people. It's played.
Expensive too. It's like $100.
Yeah, a friend of ours has it. It's more than that. A friend of ours has
more than that. Okay.
And he and I played it a couple times, but like that's the kind of game where setting it up takes forever and getting through like. So
I can see a video game version of this being
as soon as there's a video game version, I texted him. I said, "Finally, we can play Gloomhaven." So I'm excited for that. But yeah, it's on everything. So
couple of, like Just Dance 2024. I don't remember what Silent Hope is.
It's an RPG where people can't talk.
Okay. Bay Farm, I assume, is another farming game.
Tears.
Okay. Bay Farm, I assume, is another farming game.
Yeah, I showed that to my daughter. She's into that one because it's like fairies and all that kind of stuff. So
there's another Hot Wheel Unleashed game, which makes the first one sold pretty well.
Yeah.
So I played a little bit of it. It was okay. It's a little too microtransaction heavy because you can buy the different packs that have the cars. Obviously, they wouldn't do that today.
That's like real life, dude.
Maniac Mechanics. I don't even remember seeing this, but I was in and out on this.
The people who made Minecraft for console.
Oh, okay.
It's like, think of it like Overcooked, but you're a mechanic.
Remember? That makes sense. Okay.
You're like putting cars together and shit.
DLC for Mario and Rabbids 2, which I still need to play. I have it because I bought it last Black Friday when it was like $25 or something. So, new Dragon Quest Monsters
really
game.
Quick, that Mario Rabbids. I don't know if you put the rest of the stuff in there, but like, how about them being like, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't have made this game for this, and you should have waited." Did we talk about that?
No, I saw. I didn't. I saw the article. I didn't put it in here though. But yeah, it's interesting.
Shouldn't have done that. Like, what?
New Dragon Quest Monsters game, The Dark Prince. That's out in December. I don't think I've ever played any of those monsters.
It's cool, but it's not the Dragon Quest game people want to hear about.
No. Pikmin 4, which is coming out July 21st. That game looks visually incredible.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So for a Switch game, right? Yeah. Like, and then I think the bigger announcement here was that they are putting out Pikmin 1 and 2. It was digital like at the time of this show, and then the physical version you can get in September.
Yeah.
Will be out on disc cartridge.
They've re-released those games a couple times because remember those are GameCube games, so they put them on Wii.
Yeah.
And
so those were GameCube, and then I assume Pikmin 3 was Wii or
that was Wii U.
Probably Wii, right?
Wii U.
It was Wii U.
That was Wii U. But like they're all really good games. They're fun to play and just kind of hang out. 4 looks good just because
it looks
there's
insane,
a lot
like,
more
visually.
Yeah, and it looks incredible.
One of the big things they highlighted was you can go out at night this time, and that was the difference between 1, 2, and 3 right there.
You always had to go home before it was over. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As we talked about before, Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1 that got dated here, so that's on everything. October 24th. This is cool. Vampire Survivors is getting an update. The update is on everything. It's free. They're adding up to 4-player co-op to Vampire Survivors, local co-op, so we won't be able to play online. But I finally get my girlfriend to play that game, so that's pretty cool. Headbangers Rhythm Royale.
This looks terrible.
No, thank you.
Okay. Penny's Big Breakaway. I don't remember.
It's cool because that's the game made by the guys who made Sonic Mania.
Okay.
Which was which Sonic Mania started as a fan game for Sonic games, and Sega was finally like, "Do you want to just make this game?" And they said, yeah. And then after that, at this point, they're like, well, we don't really need to make any more Sonic games. Like, we'll just make our own thing. And that's basically what it looks like. It's like a platforming game. It looks pretty fun.
The final wave of the Mario Kart 8 Booster Course Pass is coming out this summer.
They showed
that new map that there's six waves?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, there's only 5. They showed the new map that looks really cool. It's like in a bathroom.
Yeah,
like a modern really house bathroom. It looks really good.
And 3D
one of the other big announcements here that I'm excited about, Star Ocean, the second story R, which they're making a physical version of this for Switch and PS4 and PS5.
Yep,
which is cool. That
it great.
Looks awesome. Yeah. That is something I will get for sure. What is Nintendo Live 2023? What was that? 1st through 4. Oh, I think that's like they're doing some sort of conference or something. Maybe was that what that was?
Yeah. Did you talk about WarioWare? Did I just miss that?
Oh, I skipped WarioWare.
Yeah,
WarioWare Move It, November 3rd.
It's cool, but like, stop making motion games, please.
Like, I get it. You put a lot of technology into let me feel the marbles and the Joy-Con. Like, we're done with that.
Nobody fucking cares, dude.
I think it'd be over now.
It's just done.
The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom amiibo. Didn't they show like one that was out of print or something they're bringing back? Was that what it was, or was it a new one?
I think so. There's these 2 new ones which are Zelda and Ganon, and they've been like actively like, I think they've been like cycling the previous ones.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the final announcement of this thing, the other big announcement, the other game that I reserved right away, a new side-scrolling Mario game, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, which just looks like Mario on acid.
He is tripping hard.
Yeah, it looks fucking wild.
But like, everything like, it is crazy as hell.
I am very hyped for any new 2D Mario game, so I immediately reserve this as well.
I don't know where I'm going to come down on it at this point, just because it's cool. Like, they're changing it up and adding some stuff, and like, I will say it looks amazing.
Yes,
like,
it does.
Yeah, it looks dope.
For as good as you think a 2D Mario game can look, this looks better than that somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it really looks wild.
But like, yeah, it's cool. Like, Daisy's playable. That's fun. Like, you can turn into an elephant. That's weird. There's like Yoshi levels or like levels underwater. Like, it's crazy as hell. It looks fun, but
it looks dope.
Is it just side-scrolling Mario at the end of the day? Like, is that just more of this?
Yeah.
The other problem I have with these games is like, they're always like, it's 4 players. It's fun for the family. As someone who's tried to play these games 4 players with a family, it is not.
No.
They're not fun co-op games.
I tried once years ago to play, I think, Mario 3D World. Then we tried to play 4-player. That's too many people.
They do not work.
2 is good. 2 is the number.
At best. 2 is the best.
At best, the number.
What really needs to happen is these games can be 4 players, but they need to be online, and we don't need to be on the same screen at the same time.
Yep.
That's how these games need to work. But 4 players as a family, especially with like young kids who it's supposed to be designed for, does not work. Period.
Chaos. But that I mean, like I said, that kind of wraps up the Nintendo Direct. Like, overall, it was fine.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it.
Super RPG is a huge win. So.
Maybe there could have been one other like major banger of some kind, because like we were talking about, where I would love a Star Fox or an F-Zero, and it just
for sure
doesn't exist, and it makes me sad. But I get
Sun Race FX remaster.
There you go. Jeez, what a pull that would be. We'll release the Sculptor's Cut for the Switch.
Oh, jeez.
That'll be a part of the Nintendo Live Service Expansion Pack 2.
Expansion Pack Plus.
Yeah, there you go. Plus R.
No, we can't use Plus because Sony uses Plus. So we can call it. There you go.
Minus.
Super Expansion Pack.
Super Expansion Pack. There you go. Next news article, I just think it's humorous, but also it makes sense. Sony will not share info with Activision if Microsoft acquires Activision. So, like, if they, like, when we get to the PS6, they will not share, like, dev kits with Activision.
Which,
because it's petty, but it also makes sense, right?
It makes sense on some level. However, if your counterpoint to them buying Activision is we want Call of Duty, how could they reasonably be expected to make Call of Duty work on a PS6 if you do not provide them with a unit? Aren't you doing yourself a disservice at that point?
Yeah, you are.
Like, these are, like, dev units are NDAs and trade secrets and all this other kind of stuff. Yeah. And realistically, Microsoft is not going to, let's be real. Both companies are working on whatever the next system is, because they always are. they're not going to change their plans, because by the time we get to a point where you're sending out PS6 dev units, they're going to be like, oh shit, we should do that and scrap everything they've made and remake it to be like yours. They don't want to make their box like your box. They make their box a computer. You make yours a PlayStation. Those are two different items. Yeah. But you're bitching about how, well, they're going to take this stuff away and make exclusives. They're going to kind of have to, because you won't let them make stuff for your system.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Kind of forcing the hand there.
Right, but you're forcing it the way you don't want it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it came out, and we'll talk about it. It came out in those documents that, like, I think Microsoft has it pegged for 2028, for at least for them, would be whatever their next system systems are.
Sounds right.
That seems right. Yeah. 8 years. That's the cycles we're on these days. So,
8 to 10, I would say, is what I would expect it to be. Yeah.
So I could see that.
With whatever the middle version of it is.
So that's interesting. I think it was Digital Foundry had gone back to a comment made way back when they first got their hands on the Series X and S, where Microsoft made it seem at that time that they were not going to do a mid refresh.
I think I remember reading something.
I read that somewhere too.
The mid refresh already.
Yeah.
And they consider the Series S their kind of main console. Because if you look at the end of the day, of the two, that's the one that sells the most.
Well,
it's cheaper.
It's cheaper.
So.
And it plays the same games. Yeah.
It plays the same games, just digital. Like that's the only downfall there. So I don't know. It'll be I think that narrative only changes if there really is a PS5 mid-fresh, because I don't think they're ever gonna want to lose the power battle again.
No, they can't.
So when it comes, they can't. So as more and more dumb shit comes out of this, some of it's fascinating though.
Yeah.
Machine Games Indiana Jones games was originally planned for release on PS5. They have since locked it down as an Xbox exclusive.
No shit.
That came out from interviewing what's his name from Bethesda, Pete Hines.
Yeah.
So
well, no shit.
But
dude.
again,
like, of course,
makes sense.
Like.
Well, look at it this way, too. Like, if you think about it, not that you're going to see a new Uncharted anytime soon, but Sony has an exclusive Indiana Jones type game already, Uncharted.
Right.
So why not have something like that for Xbox?
Right.
But it's fucking Indiana Jones. So
well, the other argument
sense.
I would say is, where's my Indiana Jones game?
I
don't give a shit what it was originally planned for if you're not going to talk about it ever again.
Yeah. This is kind of cool. The most recent patch for Horizon Forbidden West added like a tribute to Lance Reddick since he passed. There's like a location you can go to on the map that has some stuff. It's a cool thing that they added to the game. Like I said, their plans for that third game heavily revolve around that character. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
It's kind of a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. I threw this article in here for fun. I think it's funny. I know I've sent the meme itself to you like once this week, but somebody took this picture of Phil Spencer walking out of that FTC trial one of those days, and they made it look like he's one of those Yakuza bosses.
Well, because he was actually wearing like a suit and tie. Yeah.
But the thing is, somebody sent it to him, and he fucking commented it on Twitter, and just was like, "This is amazing." Basically, thought it was good and had like some good fun with it. So it's just like, let me put it this way: if somebody did that for Jim Ryan, I don't think he'd respond.
No,
he probably wouldn't even understand what Yakuza is.
He'd get on a plane and fly to Japan and be like, "What is this Yakuza business?
What are they making fun of me for?
What are they making fun of me for?"
Exactly. This was another controversy of this week here, but it's been confirmed. Starfield will have a physical disc in the regular version of the game. There was some confusion because that collector's edition, I don't know if you know this, Dan, this is good. You'll enjoy this. The collector's edition, much like Spider-Man, does not have a physical copy of the game.
It's just the Sony bullshit.
They did, let me put it down further. The code for your digital game is etched on the backside of that watch.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Exactly.
Jeez.
I read that. I was like,
why the fuck would you do that to that watch?
Because it's unique to the consumer that buys the game.
Yeah, but it's dumb for when I resell the collector's edition or something.
Yeah, exactly. No, I know, I agree, but that's what they've done there. So that when that came out, it started this controversy that none of the copies of this game would have a physical disc. They've since retracted and
you know what's weird?
It will.
You know what's weird? Is obviously like Alan Wake is starting it, And, it's going to continue at some point with other games. Like Control's going to do it now, which sucks. Starfield, you could have told me there were no physical copies, and I would have said that's dumb, but I get fine. It.
Yeah.
Because it will always be on Game Pass.
Yep. Yeah.
So, realistically, you probably shouldn't be buying Starfield anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird middle.
They're not going to ever remove that from Game Pass.
No, because that would be
they're owned by Microsoft.
This is what they're using to pump Game Pass for conceivably the next couple of years.
Yeah.
So you could have told me that was true, and I would have said, "Man, that sucks." But at least that one has a little bit more logic to it than Alan Wake 2.
It does. As we talked about a couple,
we said something about Alan Wake 2. Just so you know, Alan Wake 1, the remaster, is going to be free next month for PS Plus subscribers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, just dropping that down into you.
No, it's good.
I think I own that physically, and I need to play it. I need to replay it before 2 comes out. So I've not played that game. Okay,
but I thought it was dope that they were releasing it on Plus so that it gives me the opportunity to try it.
It's a very, very good game.
Yeah, I've heard very positive.
But I also have not played it since it came out.
That game's also it looks very.
The DLCs were not that great.
It's very different than what 2 looks like it's going to be. 1 is very psychological kind of a game.
2 looks like a horror game.
2 looks like a giant man with antlers is going to come fucking kill me. So
that's fine. I'm into that, but
it does.
So, Resident Evil Separate Ways DLC has leaked. This is not surprising. I knew that this was coming. The surprise will be how much it costs, which obviously that has not leaked yet.
20 probably, right? I guess
probably. So we got 2 articles here about the Microsoft FTC bullshit that's gone on this week. The trial's going on.
Yeah,
there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of mudslinging between these companies.
Coming out of this thing.
A lot of shit coming out. It's been fun to read.
Yeah, it has.
We got an email about it that I want to read, and then we'll kind of just get into it. Give me a second here to pull it up. This comes to us from Amber from Inglewood, Colorado. Hey guys, love the podcast. With us learning more and more information about Microsoft during the FTC trial, I see a lot of news outlets and people in general shitting on Microsoft for being competitive. Of course they want to spend their main competitor out of the market. That's the whole point. Do you guys think this narrative painting Microsoft as this big bad corporation will work in Sony's favor? And do you think it's ludicrous? Thanks. So what she's referring to is there was a comment said in an email back in 2019 where it was Matt Booty made a comment that they're in a position they could spend Sony out of business.
Right.
Here's the thing I'll say, yes, does Microsoft portray themselves as the good guys? They certainly do when it comes to a lot of this stuff. But at the end of the day, they're a fucking corporation. They want your money.
The whole point of
all
this,
the competition.
All of it is.
Do you not think Sony says the same thing behind closed doors? Or
of
Nintendo
course they do.
Of course they do.
Do you not think that Jim Ryan is yelling and screaming at everyone who works for him constantly?
Oh, absolutely.
About all of this shit? It is what is happening at all times. So my favorite part of all this stuff that came out was Microsoft looked into maybe buying Square. No shit. They looked into maybe buying Sega. Wow, shit, no shit. They looked into maybe buying all these other Zynga and all these other people. It's wow, no shit. Why wouldn't they do that?
People are confused about the mobile stuff. And it's no, you don't understand. That's a big part of the future to them.
That's just a cash
getting the mobile market.
Yeah. But why, if you're a company that is looking to get video games on your system, why wouldn't you look to buy Square or Sega or anyone? It doesn't.
So I'll go through a list of some of the companies here because that was one of the articles. So we have Thunderful, which is the people that made the SteamWorld games, and The Gunk.
Right.
Supergiant, so the people that make Hades.
Right.
Niantic, the people that make Pokemon Go. But again, that's the mobile market. Playtrix, Fishdom, Gardenscapes, again, mobile. Zynga, Farmville, again, mobile.
Right.
Bungie, obviously we know that fell through because Sony bought Bungie, but
they don't even own them
honestly,
anymore.
They don't. So The most interesting one on this list, IO Interactive.
I told you they should have done that.
They should have done that.
Yeah.
And then Scopely, which are the people that make Monopoly Go. There has also been out there, I don't know if you saw, but they had going around talking about buying Square Enix. Did you see what the code name for that project was? Because they gave it a code name.
No, I didn't see that.
It was referred to as Project Phoenix.
That's good.
And I thought that was funny for buying Square Enix.
But,
obviously, that's not going to happen.
But if you
and then Sega was the other one.
But again,
Sega has come out and said we're not for sale.
Not right now.
No, it could happen.
I think the time to buy Sega was 10 years ago. But when they were like struggling and Sonic was down.
And now Sonic's got like Sonic two hugely successful movies and some very successful games.
Bunch of games. Yeah. He's back in like popular culture. Like he's back. He has Lego sets coming out. He's back. Like it's not Sega does not have to do that anymore. But again, if you are a company that is looking to get video games on your system, why wouldn't you at least look into all of this? Do you think that Sony has not looked into all this? How many times a month do you hear like Sony's going to buy Square Enix? They're going to do it.
Oh, they've absolutely had probably hours of conversations with Square Enix.
It keeps seeming like it's going to happen. But like Square is at a point now where they're on a schedule now where they're releasing stuff like every 6 months. That is major stuff. Like, do they have to sell? Probably not.
The other one that I saw come up is Capcom.
Sure, so Capcom.
That's the other big one.
They wouldn't do it.
They don't need to.
They don't need to. Street Fighter's enough for them.
They have a Street Fighter. They have Resident Evil like popping off.
They're fine.
They're perfectly fine.
Yeah, I just like the email that we got. That's like, do you think this will point near Microsoft as a big bad corporation? No, because everything that's coming out of this is like it's just back and forth stuff. Well, Microsoft said this. Sony said this. But Microsoft said this. But this is what Sony said. All these emails that are going back and forth where Phil basically told him in an email privately years ago, we would never do that. And then and then they offered him this contract. And like, I love the Jim Ryan thing where when they first learned about it, they're like, oh, that's not to screw us out of everything. And then he changes his mind because he gets an email from Phil 8 months later. What? Like none of it. It just seems like it's literally like two kids playing with toys and like banging them against each other and getting upset when the other one tries to take one away.
It is.
But
it's very dumb.
The FTC thing. It could shake out in any number of ways. I will tell you, if it gets turned down, it's going to get appealed. Like they have their CMA thing is coming up next month to go back over there. Like it's
a huge summer battle.
This isn't over. Like this isn't anywhere close to over. But at the end of the day, everybody likes to say that like Microsoft buying Activision would be bad, but bad for who? I don't understand it anymore.
It's just PlayStation fans. It's just they're PlayStation get locked fans, out of everything. Right? That's all it is.
They released something. They released something where it was like, well, 1 million people on PlayStation. The only game they play is Call of Duty. Well, I have good news for you. Microsoft said you get it for another 10 years. Like,
be fine.
Stop using Call of Duty as the argument when it is the one game they have already said. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's the one game they've already said we're probably going to put on the fucking Switch.
I would be more worried about Elder Scrolls 6 not coming to PlayStation. Well, because
the thing is we might have talked about this last time, and I know at least I've said it to you privately, but the more Sony pushes and the more Sony pushes and the more Sony pushes, if this thing goes through, fine. If it doesn't go through, you have lost everything else.
Yeah.
Like Elder Scrolls 6,
so
gone.
Many things now.
Next Fallout, gone. They'll rip it all away because you pushed them too hard. Because guess what? They can.
Yeah.
But if this Activision thing goes through, they'll probably release Elder Scrolls 6 on both systems, man. They probably just will. Did you like the other thing that came out where it's like the reason why Minecraft is not optimized for PS5?
Yeah.
Because Sony won't let them.
Yeah.
They won't let no, you can't. We won't let you do that.
Yeah. Stupid.
Okay, well, why? Like we release all Minecraft stuff on everything. Like they just put out fucking Minecraft Legends on PS4.
Yeah.
But they won't let them make PS5 versions of these games because they won't tell them what's in the PS5 to do it.
It's so weird.
That's so petty.
It's very
stupid.
petty.
You think
I told my girlfriend the other day, I'm like, you're playing the best version of Minecraft because of that.
If you think 3 years into the PS5's life cycle, they're going to unlock some secret because you gave them a dev kit to put Minecraft on the PS5, that's going to give them an advantage.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
Yeah,
like the whole thing is just it's
very dumb and
annoying.
Petty.
Like because now they both just look like assholes and idiots. Because they get upset about tiny little emails and he said it like this and I don't like how he said it. Like,
well, they all are assholes and idiots, man.
Neither one of them is ever going away.
No.
Because I don't know.
It's ridiculous.
It's just I want it to be over, but it's never going to be over.
Other thing that came out of it that I think is interesting because we never got these numbers. Last of Us Part 2 cost $220 million to make, and Horizon 2 cost $212 million. So
that's crazy.
We never got those numbers.
No.
Yeah. Well, not surprised, but those games sold really well. So
I also laughed because you weren't supposed to get those numbers, but they didn't redact that document properly.
They didn't redact. Yeah, exactly. Well, you weren't supposed to get that Square Enix buyout was called Project Phoenix either, but they didn't redact that properly either. So
they don't know how to redact digital documents because they're idiots.
Apparently.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a lot of money, but The Last of Us as a franchise is worth a hell of a lot more than that, especially now.
Yeah.
So.
This is interesting. There's I'm surprised it hasn't been patched yet, but there's a treasure goblin in Diablo 4 which cannot attack but is killing hardcore characters.
So did you read this article?
I skimmed it.
So under certain circumstances, if you kill it with a certain aspect on, it will sort of explode in a shockwave. And kill you because the damage is disproportionate to what it actually is. It's probably some kind of weird underflow problem where it automatically hits you for a max damage kind of a thing when it should be 0. But it's killing hardcore characters, which I'll be honest, that's funny as hell to me. I know that sucks.
It is funny. Sucks,
one guy was level 93.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I laughed because I read it and it's he got up and he walked out of his chair and just put his head in his hands. It's because what else do you do at that point, man?
I don't know what you do. Probably done playing Diablo 4 for a while.
And then you'll never get that character back. The character is gone.
Final news article of the week, my favorite news article this week. This is hot off the press today. Daedalic Entertainment, the people that made 2023's hit hot Golem game, is so ending beautiful. Internal development. So the other Lord of the Rings game they were working on has been scrapped. They are now just going back to being a publisher. Basically, they're not going to develop any more games because of how bad Golem was. So
I don't even know if I trust them to publish games at this point, man.
I don't even know what they've published in the past, to be fair. So I don't know. Golem's a game I'll never play. So even as a Lord of the Rings fan, I don't need to play a game as that character.
Well, there's that.
It makes no fucking sense.
Let's say you're in a GameStop or you're at the magical Walmart and you see it on the shelf and it says $9.99.
It needs to say $4.99.
Okay.
And then I look at it and go,
Kyle's in. All right, so $9.99 and you got your $5 GameStop coupon and you're in. I got it.
Ooh, then I would stream it.
$3.99? Because that's the only time I'm interested in doing that.
If I get it for $5, I will stream it so people can share in my misery.
You know what I'll say to that, Kyle? Your birthday's coming up, man.
Do not buy me a copy of Golem.
Oh, what if I got everyone who knows you to buy you a copy of Golem?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm coordinated. Matt's in. That's 2.
I'm in. Let's do it. Let's do it.
You can be like the guy who collects every copy of Speed on VHS that he finds. You could just be the Golem guy.
Like on Reddit. What was he up to? 30-some copies?
He filled a bathtub. There was that. There's the guy who collects Jurassic Park or Super Nintendo, and he filled a bathtub with it.
Jesus.
You could be the Golem guy.
I could be the Golem guy. Well, we'll transition into emails here. The first email we have here, Brian from Tupelo, Mississippi. Hey guys, is this Game Pass price hike BS or are people freaking out for no reason? I actually forgot to put this in the news this week. I feel like just a $1 jump isn't too much to get that worried about, considering the content turnout is extremely high quality for the most part. What do you all think? So I forgot to put this in there. They're raising the price of Game Pass. They're doing the same thing that Sony did, maybe the beginning of this year, where they're raising the price of the system in like every other region but America.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think Canada. I don't think Canada is affected either. But that's the same price point as the PlayStation 5 in those other territories.
Yeah.
But the other thing about it is Game Pass is going up $1 in all regions, including America. It's $1.
It's $1. I mean,
like, first of all, second of all, I don't know anyone that has Game Pass that pays for it monthly.
why
Everybody
would you?
I know,
Yeah.
everybody I know uses the loophole. So,
Right.
and they clearly aren't turning that loophole off anytime soon. So I just did mine last October, and I'm good through 2025. So, like, it's very easy to do that.
My argument would be like, it's $1. So what does that mean in terms of value? You have to play 1 extra hour of Game Pass games in a month. Like, it's not a crazy amount more. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you pay for Game Pass and you play 60 hours a month, that's the value. So if it goes up $1 and you still play 60 hours a month, the cost versus like time you've gotten out of it is still very good.
The other thing I'll say that Microsoft has a leg up on Sony in this department is like, so for example, and I think I've said before, like with that game sharing, that also works technically with Game Pass.
Yeah.
So I don't have to pay for my girlfriend to have Game Pass. I don't have to pay for her to have a second copy of Diablo. If we both had PlayStations, I would have to buy her Plus as well.
Yep.
Because otherwise you get locked out of that stuff.
I asked you last week or the week before, like, because I never had a reason to set it up before, but now that like my kids are getting older, I was like, why don't I just set it up so they can play Game Pass shit on the other TV? So I just had to swap which ones are my Xboxes. Exactly. And now I told them like they could be under their account and you can just go play whatever you want. Doesn't matter. So like for an extra $1, I will say this, like, conveniently, it's at exactly the right time because Starfield is coming. What better time to do it? If
they're going to go upstairs and they're going to be playing High on Life.
That's fine, man. That's what's going to happen. Whatever. Here's my passcode. Just log it in. But yeah, I would say if you're the kind of person who has a Game Pass account and you don't get value out of it, this is not going to be good for you. But if you don't get value out of it, why do you have it?
Exactly. But yeah, I totally forgot to put
that in. Could have been worse. They could have doubled the price. Remember?
They could have done a lot of things that some of these streaming companies are doing. That's for sure.
Oh man,
so
they could. I
don't even want to get into that.
They could have turned off the game sharing stuff, or they could have. They could have turned off.
Then said, "Hey, why don't we charge you $8 more, and you can have them?"
And then they
have them have access.
And then they have to manually move their saves to the cloud, and we won't just do it for them. And like
we won't. Yeah.
They can make this shit so many things worse than just making it cost $1 more.
$1 more is fine.
Yeah.
Jeff from Dayton, Ohio writes in and says, "Hey guys, I have a pretty good story regarding a great score sometime back. So last week, Dan, you asked people to write in that have scores, good scores from like flea markets and whatever,
wherever you get it from. Yeah.
In the late 2000s, when people didn't care as much about retro game collecting as they do now, I went to a garage sale where I asked the owners running it if they had any old video games they wanted to get rid of. The woman at the sale said she was sure they did and left for several minutes only to come back with this big plastic crate full of Super Nintendo games. This crate had it all, man. Chrono Trigger, Earthbound, the Final Fantasy games, Lufia, even Demon's Crest. I asked what they wanted per game, and they asked for a flat $50 for the crate as a whole.
Oh, my God.
I happily paid that and went on my way. I have yet to get a score that good again, and all those games are still in my collection.
I mean, that's Jeff's once in a lifetime. Everybody gets one.
Yep. That is all right. No. that is like how it was back in like mid 2000s. Like people didn't give a fuck.
You know, it was weird. Like, I don't know why I did this or why I was doing this, but a couple of days ago I was looking at my eBay account and I was looking at like my old history from like I've had the same eBay account for like 20 plus years, right?
Yeah.
And I was just looking at like my old history of stuff, and sometime around 2010, maybe a little bit before, I had randomly decided to just start buying some retro stuff on eBay. My God, dude, the prices I was paying then, you would not believe. Like I was getting boxed copies of stuff for $15, $20.
Jeez, that's
like,
good.
I was like, oh, maybe I should start like bulk up my 64 collection at the time. Boxed Pokemon Snap, $10. Like it's just like you think about it now. Like even Pokemon Snap isn't the hardest game to find, and even boxed, I would imagine it's probably not crazy. But I paid $10.
Yeah,
in 2010.
That's insane.
That's just crazy. And like, but that's when most of this happened.
Yeah.
Because even back then, even amongst collectors, prices weren't crazy yet. Collectors would have like, you know, as collectors, we have ruined this hobby. Like it is.
Collectors have ruined it, but also like you think about the rise, not that I dislike these shows because I watch them all, but you think of like the Game Chasers and the, what is the Pixel Squad now? Like those people go out, they're promoting, finding this stuff, and that just brings more into
more
hobby.
Eyes into it. It brings in the resellers is what it does. It brings in the people who see, well, I can make a buck off of this as opposed to people like us.
Metal Jesus makes like a rare video, like those games shoot up.
You better pray you already have that game. Yeah.
It's like I told you a while ago, you think the retro game market's bad. Let me tell you about the rare guitar pedal market.
Oh,
that one guy, the minute he mentions like, yeah, I've been using this pedal, next day it's $600 now.
That's
was $50. Insane. Next email we have comes from Gary from Pensacola, Florida. It says, howdy guys, love the podcast. In the early 2010s, I was walking through a local Goodwill and happened to notice a ton of PS1 games marked in the $1 CD section.
That's where you
found
them.
A ton of black label RPGs such as the Final Fantasies, Azure Dreams, Vagrant Story, Lunar, Beyond the Beyond, and so on. I got all for $1 each, and the cashier didn't even bat an eye.
Insane.
Yep. Insane. But I can see it.
But that's what you have to do. Like if you go to Goodwills,
even today, they still throw that stuff in that section.
You look through CDs. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, I have found, I would say nothing like great, but I found PS1 and like Dreamcast games in there too, because somebody might know what a PlayStation is because they read PlayStation on it. A lot of people don't know what the fuck a Dreamcast is. Yeah, it only existed for 3 years. So so those get thrown in there a lot. So I have found those mix in with CDs before, but like, never anything like super great.
Yeah.
That's today. A killer find for them, though.
Those are great.
That's a good one.
Vagrant Story, $1 a piece. Jesus.
That's a good one. This is a good one. I'm not surprised we got some pro card emails this week.
I knew it.
This one's from a customer. Lou from Farmingdale, New York. Hi guys, longtime listeners since the early days. I wanted to chime in on the new GameStop Pro Card because it just fucked me over. So I had made sure that I had my auto renew off. My renewal ironically was set for 628, and behold, I wake up today to discover all of my points I had almost 20,000 are gone.
Yeah.
I spent an hour on the phone with their support, but I was just only reiterated the same line about how this works now. It's bullshit, and GameStop has lost me completely as a customer now. I enjoyed your podcast because of the insight you all offer on this shit company, but this is just fucked. Thanks for listening to my rant. I'm not surprised.
No, like
it's. Not at all. I would imagine their support is going to be identical to how Netflix support handled the big issue a couple of weeks ago, where they would not help
what it is. Yeah.
Too bad. I'm sure they were given the script.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, remember GameStop support. Most of those people are fired. The rest of it's overseas.
So
I just like this is like the exact scenario I said was going to happen.
Exactly, like
the day you're going to realize
there's going to be many people
when it happens, and you're fucked. Like 20,000 points, he lost $20.
His email actually reminded me to go and make sure auto renew was turned off online, but I don't have that many points.
No. I burned mine
because I cashed mine out.
I cashed him out at $5 just because there's not really a reason to hold on to it to get it any higher than that anymore for me. Because I just do since I just do a game every so often, it's just $5. But this is exactly what I said was going to happen. You were going to realize the day of, they were going to wipe your slate. Imagine this is bad enough, but imagine he caught it at home. Imagine the person who's at the store who walked in that day.
Oh man!
And they were like,
the person behind the counter is going to get shredded first.
Jesus.
It's not their fault.
Your card expired a week ago. All your points and you had 30,000 points. But you came in today.
Gone.
Your card's gone. I can't even use your points you had to renew it. It's gone. Fuck, dude.
Insane.
And I laugh because I've been getting the emails where it's like, hey, you're a pro member now. Here's your sweet benefits. And I'm just looking at them going, wow.
I got mine too.
So it's a more expensive version of a card that used to give me 10% off used games. Now only gives me 5.
Congrats.
That doesn't even cover. You realize 5% is less than the tax rate in most places, right?
It is. Yep. It is.
You're not even saving me the tax.
It's
what
bad.
The fuck?
It's bad. How about the shipping thing for, like I said,
just enough so it prices you out of a new game. That's
exactly.
That is on purpose. If a new game costs 75, it would be it's 87 is for shipping cut off. Like they would make it just enough where you'd have to buy one extra thing to do it.
Bad.
Very, so budget titles, you can't ever get them to ship for free anymore. Like
no.
Next email we have one of our first of the redacted. We have Richie from Redacted. Hi dudes, long time listener, first time ever emailer. As an ASL at my store and I'm an ASL at my store and our goal for cards this week sent down by the DL is utterly insane. They expect us by the end of this week to have 50 total cards, and our DL believes that the new added value of Pro changes will pull customers into the store. New customers, that is. Some days I just can't understand how people can keep drinking the Kool-Aid. We haven't even hit double digits yet, and it's midweek. This goal ain't happening. Thanks for listening to my rant, guys, and keep up the good podcast.
I can't even imagine having to put up with this now. Like, our one DM, you know who I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Imagine what he would have been like during this.
Oh, it would have been the exact same thing. This adds value. This adds value. I can hear him say it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, too, but there's not even a physical card anymore, right?
I don't think so.
I was reading on
Reddit. If you turn your phone sideways, it pulls up a digital card.
It's done that for a long time. It's done that for a long time. But I want to say I was reading something on Reddit too, where it's there's not even a physical card anymore.
They just want you to have the app.
It's just an account and the app.
It is 2023.
But the app barely works and the website barely works.
The app sucks.
They can't even keep up to date on my stuff that's shipping. It just every fucking thing I've ordered for the past year says awaiting product availability.
And then it just shows up.
Shows up. What the fuck? What the fuck are you talking about? And up until Final Fantasy 16, I was getting everything day up, but not Final Fantasy 16. The one game I've been waiting
you got
for.
The Zelda fuck.
I got the Zelda
I got for Zelda. Yeah, exactly.
But not a huge deal, fine, whatever. But 50 cards a week. Are you?
Well, let me read the next email before you continue.
All right, go ahead.
Because the next one is also about the Pro Card.
Go ahead.
Jesus.
This comes from Grant from Redacted. Hey guys, love the podcast and what you guys do. I have to write in and rant about this new Pro Card, and we are shoving down customers' throats and hard. My DL wants 40 cards by the end of this week. It's Thursday and we've had one. That's right. Man. One sign up. I actually had a guest come in and ask how they can make sure it cancels and doesn't auto renew because they don't like the higher price with less value. And I can't argue with them because I know it's true. I also don't know if there's been any confusion on your end about physical magazines, but that's over completely. There is no option to grandfather anyone in to still getting it. That's done. Completely going to digital. I can't wait for my Friday check-in call with the DL when he shits down my throat about how my store has gotten one sub, but it's just as bad as some of the other stores in my district, so I don't feel as bad. Thanks for reading my rant.
Oh my God, even
40 cards.
Even 40 is terrible. This is a new, more expensive card. At the highest, I would say a goal for a mid-tier store like ours should be 20. Yeah. Or it should be 21. 3 a day, right?
There you go.
That's acceptable to start. But more 40, expensive.
50.
No magazine. How many times did we get people who would come in and just be like, I just want to get the magazine again. So they pay $15 for that.
That happened quite a bit, actually.
That would happen a pretty decent amount. Or that was a selling point where you, especially if there was a kid, you'd be like, hey, you get these 2 issues today and you'll get 12 more. Now you get nothing. Yeah. Now you get a physical digital magazine, which doesn't make any sense in a era where news is instant. The magazine is at least something I could sit on the couch and read and flip through and look at the pictures and stuff, and it's in a magazine form.
Yeah.
Kids or it's mail for kids. Kids like getting magazines.
Yeah.
My kids love to get the Lego magazine, and we get them highlights and stuff. They love that stuff. But to wait for a digital copy of something that the news is it's on the hour. What am I waiting for?
You just need the IGN app.
Yeah,
like, that's all you need.
IGN or GameSpot or anybody.
It's fucking free.
Yeah. It's free.
Like that's updated literally on the hour.
But I laughed at like guests are coming in saying, "Please don't auto renew me. There's no value." Yeah, there's not.
That's good. There's no argument there. Like I agree with the guy. Like you wouldn't be able to argue.
I also agree with that first email from Richie. We're just like, I don't understand how people keep drinking the cool. I don't get it either, man. Like the people who are left that are still this far in, something is wrong.
Could you imagine what it would be like if you were in a situation where RDL was in the store when somebody came in and said that? How to handle it. I don't know how you would be able to handle it.
He would step in. If it was the only person in the store, he would step in and try to argue in that like DM way they argue with you. Like, no, man. Oh, yeah. It's super cool. It's so super great. Cool. And then when that guy left without getting a card, he'd look at you and go like, what could you have done better? Like, like,
oh yeah, that would be how it ended.
Like, what are you
could have done better in that situation?
Like,
yeah.
You are insane.
Yeah.
$30. Name any store you willingly go to that's not like Costco or Sam's Club, because that's different because I'm buying groceries and stuff there, where you would pay $30 to be a member. Name one.
I can't name one.
You saw Best Buy. You saw Best Buy like revamped something and they're changing it again.
Yeah, I saw.
Why would you even do it there anymore? Best Buy's a ghost town unless I'm buying a TV or an appliance.
I'll give you a good example. Right now, because it was a Game Pass perk, I have Walmart Plus. Okay? Mm-hmm. I have that. I think it was a 3-month trial. That is $12 a month. It's pretty fucking good, but that's $12 a month. But I also save on, I think it's like 10 cents off gas, like any gas station that they own, which you can find through the app anyways. I just go to the gas station in front of the Walmart by me because.
But here's my other argument.
But again, even when that trial runs out, it's $12 a month.
What kind of a store is Walmart?
You get everything there.
Yeah.
Like that, exactly.
What kind of a store is GameStop? You buy Steam currency there? I don't know anymore.
Exactly.
Like, maybe if they had used games.
Funko Pops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Buy a Dungeons and Dragons cereal bowl.
There you go. I was reading something too where like maker? You probably could. We had Star Wars ones for a long time. When there was that like 6 months period where they would just not stop fucking sending me Star Wars shit over and over and it was all stupid shit no one would ever buy.
I bought the first coffee mug that we got, and then when it was like they just kept sending them, I'm like, fucking stop.
Coffee mugs.
It was probably my fault because I bought one.
Well, that's also a company that could never quite figure out how to fucking ship coffee mugs.
God,
how many of those came?
How many would we get broken?
My God.
Oh wow, we would
throw
out so many.
But like Walmart is a store that like sells groceries and car tires and light bulbs. Like, yes, there is a reason to maybe have a subscription to that. I had that for a little bit during like the tail end of like the bad COVID times because it was like delivery and you could
extremely convenient. Yeah, I've been using that instead of Instacart because I have this trial and like you can order. The other day, I needed a hedge clipper thing to clip some stuff outside. I fucking ordered that and had it in an hour.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't feel like driving over to Walmart. Some dude just drove to my house.
And to be fair, like you can order to do it without a Walmart Plus thing, but you do get like free delivery and you get priority timing and all that kind of stuff. It was very useful for us during the COVID times. I don't need it anymore, but I get it. But 50, go back like 40 cards.
$30.
I love like 1 through Thursday. It would have happened. I can't imagine telling our DM, be like, we've got 1. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do I mean?
What are you going to change about this?
It's impossible.
And you need to go outside, do some guerrilla marketing.
Oh, God, yeah. Go around,
put some
go
flyers
to local businesses, put a banner on your car. But
you should put a banner on your car and then drive your car up to the street because you don't have a sign for your GameStop being there, and just let people know.
Park where you can't see your car and attach a vinyl banner to it. Oh yeah.
Also at the same time, your response back is that doesn't need to happen because we've been here for like 30 years.
It's okay. So we'll be fine.
They know we're here.
Yeah, but this card, if I was still there, God help me if I was still there.
This would be the breaking point, probably.
This would maybe be where like I just have to be like, it's either I'm selling no cards and getting fired or I'm quitting, because this is going to get people fired for sure.
Absolutely.
And it's just, I laugh too, because, there's some stores out there that are like figuring out shady ways to do it, where they're like, I've got 25 already. You're cheating, because no reasonable person is signing up for this card.
No.
Those are cheaters.
No. Next email we have comes from Will from Gaithersburg, Maryland. Says, hey guys, I love the podcast, and while I know it's a gaming podcast, I've enjoyed you guys talking about some of the recent movie releases and kind of mini reviewing them. Between Evil Dead Rise, Mario, and The Flash, do you guys have any plans to bring in a segment about movies, or are you keeping it strictly gaming? Also, have any of you have plans to see the new Indiana Jones, or are you avoiding it thanks to Crystal Skull? Thanks.
Oh boy.
I wouldn't say we will talk about Indiana Jones because Dan and I went and saw it the other night. But I'm not planning on putting a movie segment in here because we're just in a weird time where right now there are good movies I want to go see.
Movies we care about are coming out. So and
that's going to end when we get to the fall, because it's going to be a dead.
Because what do we have left?
It's like,
we have Mission Impossible we're going to go see.
That's probably it.
I think that's it for now.
I am not paying money to see The Meg, too.
No.
My girlfriend wants to see that. I said,
but
when it is up on demand, I will watch it. I am not going to theater.
No, I don't know. I might do it. I might, because I saw the first one, and I'm not going to lie. Jason Statham versus a shark. I'm game, man.
I like the first one, but like that's not a movie theater movie for me.
Let's run it back.
No.
Man. Let's run.
We were talking about it yesterday too. It's like, it's weird because, the Marvel slate is slowing down. DC, we've got to wait a while. We just had Flash.
Oh man, we got Blue Beetle next month.
We're not
in
doing
August.
that. Nope. I'm
not even going to see that, to be fair. So I will watch it when it's out.
I might, guys. I'm not going to lie.
Blue Beetle?
There you go.
I don't know, man. Like,
I might. Just depends
Blue Beetle,
on like.
We were talking about like it exists in a weird space where like it's part of an old universe that's dead. So how much am I supposed to invest in it now? Like, there were rumors where it's like, kind of to be after Superman. It's like, you can't hold it for 3 years.
No,
not at this point.
No,
it's a bummer because I've kind of wished that they would have, like, during the filming been like, why don't we hold on to this instead of just do it?
Work it
like
in.
Aquaman, you have to shove that out now and be done. So
right.
Yeah.
We've got to get rid of what we have left to be done with that. But so I wouldn't say there's like plans to put that stuff in. If it's like, we'll talk about Mission Impossible.
We're going to see Mission Impossible because I love all those movies. So
I mean, or something like piques our interest. I'm sure it'll come up at some point, but these are kind of the major ones. But let's talk Indiana Jones.
So the first thing I'll say is I put up a fucking review of it on my YouTube channel today, and Dan and I both agree that the movie was good. Like, I actively liked it.
Yeah.
I do not understand. This movie is getting absurd criticism. And, like, I'm talking, like, going all the way back to, like, a month ago when that IGN review came out, and whoever it was that reviewed it gave a 4 out of 10, saying it's worse than Crystal Skull. Which, like, I read that at the time, and I'm like, I just can't even imagine that it would be that bad. It's not. Like, I don't even think it even comes close to being that bad.
No.
With that being said, I would not put it in the same regard as the original trilogy.
That's an important.
This is a good fourth.
It's an important distinction. Kyle and I said so when the movie ended, we both kind of looked at each other and went,
"It was good, right?
What happened? That was pretty good."
Yeah,
like, I'm shocked at how much I liked it, but it is not. It is not Raiders. It is not Temple of Doom, and it is not Last Crusade. It is not those movies. Those exist in their own section, and then there's Crystal Skull, which is
also not Crystal Skull,
definitively the bottom. And then this is right somewhere in the middle, but on the better side of it. Like the biggest problem I think people were arguing about with this was like the de-aging stuff for Harrison Ford and the CG and all this kind of stuff.
Here's the thing I'll say. First of all, I just saw The Flash, so I'm coming off the worst CG I've seen in the movie in like 20 years. But also the sequence, they only do the de-aging in one sequence of this movie, really. It's the beginning.
There's 2 parts.
There's
that
two
part
others
where they
later,
go back in the middle. Yeah.
But he's still a little bit older in that part.
Sure.
But in the very beginning, it's like 1944.
Yeah.
And that entire sequence with the train and stuff, and you've seen this in the trailer, so that's not a spoiler. it's all done at night while it's raining. So they made the conditions perfectly as shitty as possible. So you do get, shots of his face, but the shots that you see look pretty good. There's only a couple times where like he's fighting people where like, that looks a little goofy, but whatever.
When I was reading these reviews, like the people made it sound like it was like offensively bad.
I didn't get that vibe at all when I watched it. Like
the only thing I will say that takes you out of it a little bit, his voice, because he does sound 70 years old.
Yeah, that's a little odd.
He doesn't talk as much in those parts. Mm-mm. I had no argument with that opening part of the movie. And then
and as I told you, because you've never seen it, like I've been with this de-aging bullshit since the beginning when they used it in Rogue One. I think that was the first movie I saw it in. And I will tell you, going back and watching that movie recently, it looks like a fucking cartoon character.
Right.
Compared to what you see today. They've really improved it.
There are like flashes of the lighting on his face makes him look a little weird. But it's fleeting and it keeps moving. I think the biggest thing this movie kind of has going for it is it is always moving. There's always a scene. It goes someplace else. Scene goes someplace else. Scene. It's on a quick pace. Like it's 2.5 hours. It didn't feel 2.5 hours by the time it was over.
God, no,
towards the end, I would argue towards the end, it kind of starts to like we need to kind of wrap it up, kind of a thing. But
then they do the thing you want to see, and you kind of forget that.
Right? So. Yeah, exactly. So I just overall, as someone who's a huge Indiana Jones fan and was never going to avoid this one, even though Crystal Skull is not good, and I went and saw that day one and walked out of that going, "What the fuck just happened?" Because it's all aliens.
No, stuff. I had the same. This one
has about as weird of a fantastical element to it as any of the other ones do. Like
it does,
but like you can infer what that is by the name of the movie and what they talk about multiple times. And you know what? I was okay with it because it's borderline silly, but it fits the movie.
It's silly, but they handled it in a way that I think was more believable because there's so many times during you get to the point of what that's going to be where I'm like, oh, they could really fuck this up.
What are they actually going to do with it? Right.
There is one specific scene where they find the other half of this dial and then they give you the revelation of maybe this device worked.
Right.
And I'm like,
that was cool.
Might go.
It was cool for like a minute. But then when
maybe this is going to go the Crystal Skull way, and I'm like,
but when they
I don't know.
Explain it, it's cool, and it throws it back to what happened before. And when they actually tell you like what the purpose of all of this was, you're like, okay, that actually makes sense. And then it ends. Like,
but the way they handle like actually like putting that device together, doing what they do without spoiling it, we're not going to spoil it here. When they actually get to that part, then that was the part of like, oh man, what are they going to do when they go through this thing and this happens?
Could have been anything.
It could have been anything.
Don't know what I did not know what it was.
And I sat there the whole time extremely nervous because I'm like, oh, what are they going to see when they come out the other end of this? And they did the best possible thing they could have done with that. I think
it's silly, but it works and it's fine. Like it is an Indiana Jones adventure. It's just he's older and they do focus more on her as opposed to him. But
I mean, how is it any less silly than him meeting the dude at the end of Last Crusade and the Holy Grail? Like, it's not. No. I felt it was identical.
No. And like they do, I will say there were a couple things I didn't care for. Number one, like her character is tough to like.
The goddaughter?
Yeah, Helena. Yeah. Like, she is tough to root for.
She's
for
not
very
the character portrayed in the trailer.
She is not Indiana Jones, put it that way.
No, not at all.
And that kind
her motivations are not explained in the trailer. So you think you're getting one character and you get something different.
The other, like, I guess like I grew to think it was okay towards the end, but like we just get another short round character. Like that's just who that kid is.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people today shitting on the fact there's a kid that's like a short round type character.
Yeah, it's fine.
But people are like, he was forgettable and everything. I'm like,
not really.
He wasn't in there to really. He was fine.
He played a pretty major part towards the end of that movie. About as much as Short Round did in Temple of Doom.
I'd say it was.
And I told Kyle, I said the only thing I really would have wished for is for this movie to have been made 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So
he could have done a little bit more. So it could have
been a little bit more. He does a lot. Like they do a very good job with him
for his age. He does a lot,
quite a bit. And it is a fan service movie. It is meant to be like, hey, remember those parts of these movies that were good that you like? Here's an off joke.
They don't overdo it.
They don't overdo it. Like, they explain why his son is not around for this. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, but like, I didn't even expect him to do that.
I didn't.
So you get a flex to that, and it explains like some other things going on. And I mean, overall, I came out of it going, you know what? That could have been a train wreck. It really could have been.
It easily could have. There were so many times where it was going to take a turn where I'm like, you know, even when they get to the point in the end, there was something they were kind of teasing where I'm like, don't do this here because that's really fucking stupid. And thankfully they don't.
Right.
So because it is an end for that character, but they don't go with the trope that you maybe think they're going to go with.
I think this is what I would say.
Without spoiling.
Yeah. It's over. And it's okay for it to be over.
I also liked, I love Mads Mikkelsen. My girlfriend adores Mads Mikkelsen. We love the Hannibal show, but he in this movie is great. But what I liked about it is like, he does have a little bit of a twist to his character and why he's doing what he's doing. That's revealed towards the end of the movie that I thought was a nice touch.
Kind of, yeah.
Because you kind of think you know what he's going to do when he gets this device. But then he kind of reveals his full hand.
There's like more to it. And you're like,
there's more to it. And I was like, oh, okay, that's not what I would have expected at all. Yeah. So, you know, I thought it was going to be the very cliched answer, and it was not. And I was kind of surprised by that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, overall, if you like Indiana Jones and you hated Crystal Skull, I
gave it an A-.
I think that's why
people are pissed. I don't know.
I give it like an 8. Like, it's not perfect. Like,
I had 2 people get angry already in my video review. So, and that's why I text you and I was like, I don't get why I'm not allowed to like this Indiana Jones movie.
Why are we supposed to hate this movie?
I don't, because people hated Crystal Skull, I guess.
Because it shouldn't have been made? Like, why not?
It doesn't matter. I walked out of it to the point where I text my girlfriend, like, we'll go next week.
Yeah.
Because I told her if it's bad, then you dodged a bullet. If it's good, we'll go.
Like I said, I still think it's the 4th best one. Like, I'm weird where, you know, everybody loves Raiders. I like Last Crusade a little bit more.
You like Last Crusade? I'm a Raiders person.
I like Sean Connery's character. So
I would say that's my second favorite, and then I put Temple as my third.
If I go like Last Crusade is a 10, Raiders is 9.5, and then Temple is probably a 9 for me because I love Temple. It's campy as shit.
I do love Temple.
I love it.
Yeah,
but yeah, I
feel like I need to rewatch all 3 of the originals.
I mean, that's always a good idea. There doesn't need to be a 50 Indiana Jones for you to do that, man. Like,
no, you're right.
They're always good.
We're talking about films, though. What about Five Nights at Freddy? Is anyone thinking about that?
Oh, the trailer?
It's on Peacock Day of, isn't it?
Have you seen the new trailer?
I did, yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen it. Since you brought it up,
just saying.
That's the thing. This was the thing I mentioned to Dan because when we were sitting there waiting for that movie to start, because they play like 30 minutes of fucking commercials before you even see trailers now. That was the thing you brought up, was like, I have no problem with going to the theater today now.
Mm-hmm.
The theater that I normally go to over by me, because I have to drive a little bit to get out to where Dan is, where I used to live. The theater over by me is fucking packed every time I go. Like every movie I ever go see there is sold out. Evil Dead sold out. Mario sold out. But the theater that I used to go to, where we've gone to see these last couple movies, it's been dead. I think Indiana Jones the other night was probably the most people we saw.
It had more people in it than Flash.
Fast X had nobody, and Flash had even less people. I think it was just the 4 of us and one other dude.
Yeah.
So, that part of it's kind of a bummer, because for me, like, the Evil Dead is the best movie I've seen in the theater this year, but a lot of it had to do with seeing it with a full fucking theater. So, because you got that audience reaction of like, wow, that's fucked up. So, but the thing that we brought up yesterday was like, I enjoy still going to the movies, but if you give me the day one option, which Five Nights at Freddy's is going to be on Peacock day one, I'm just going to watch it there.
Yeah. Why would I go pay?
That makes sense. So, I didn't know it was. I didn't even realize it was day one.
If like the one exception for me, if it's a new Batman movie, so like last year, if that Pattinson Batman movie would have been day one on HBO, I still would have went to the theater.
So I told you, I said,
because I would like to see
they
that
could
it
say
that way.
Spider-Man's on Disney Plus day one, I don't care. I'm going to the movie
Make
theater.
No mistake, I will watch it 8 times.
I'm going to go home and watch it immediately.
Yes. Yeah, so, but I would want to see it.
We also got Mutant Mayhem coming out in August, though, too.
I might go see that.
You know what?
So
I told her I'd probably go see that.
Yeah, there you go.
I think
I love Ninja Turtles.
That was the movie. Okay.
I'm definitely going to go see that.
All right, so if you're excited for the movie part of the podcast, we definitely have Mission Impossible,
and probably
Turtles.
There you go.
And then maybe we'll do Five Nights. We'll do Five Nights.
Five Nights at Freddy's looks good. My biggest issue with that movie, and I'm probably going to have that issue seeing it and even after, is I already got it with Nicolas Cage.
That's true.
Willy's Wonderland.
And it's really fucking good.
That movie is amazing.
That movie is amazing, and Nicolas Cage doesn't say a word in it. His character is silent. Man. It is fucking amazing. So, like, this doesn't look bad. I don't think it's been rated yet. I'm kind of hoping it's PG-13 so they can be a little more gnarly, but it looks good. I like that the guy that wrote all the game stories wrote the script for it.
Yeah,
which is
and
cool.
It looks like it's kind of a mashup of a lot of the different.
And that's fine.
Yeah, and that's what it probably
I'm excited about it as someone who's like maybe dabbled a little bit in those games, but I'm interested in the story.
I forgot there's that one other one that we're going to have to talk about, Kyle, which is Retribution, the Liam Neeson speed saw in the car.
To pull up the trailer.
You got to watch the trailer for it because that movie looks dumb as shit, and I'm totally in.
I'll watch it tonight.
I'm down. I'll watch it.
I will watch the trailer tonight. Retribution.
It's Taken/Speed/Saw.
As long as it's better than Hypnotic,
I'm there.
We're good.
Nothing's better than Hypnotic, dog. Come on.
That's the worst movie I saw this year. Hypnotic.
Wow.
It easily the worst movie.
Put a review out for Hypnotic and then label it A+ and see what kind of comments you get.
Oh God.
Jesus.
The funny thing is the one person that I normally watch on YouTube, I think gave it like a C, and I was like, that's really generous.
No, man, it's cool to love Hypnotic. You got to hate on Indiana Jones, though.
We got Equalizer coming out as well.
Oh, fuck that. Okay. That I have to take our mutual friend Ross.
We might have some
movie this year.
We might have some movie time coming
movies
through.
Movies will pop up. If it's a movie like multiple.
It's not going to be a regular segment, but yeah.
If it's a movie multiples of us see. We'll probably talk.
Goddamn Equalizer. Yeah, I forgot about that. That was literally, I woke up one day at 6 a.m. with a text from my friend. Have you fucking seen the Equalizer 3 trailer? We have to go. I'm like, yeah, we'll go. Final email we got this week comes from Cy from Cincinnati, Ohio. It's another find email.
That's a good one.
This is a good one too. This is probably, honestly, this might be the best one.
One of the best ones I've ever heard.
Of the week.
Yeah.
One of the best ones I've heard. Yeah. Hey dudes, love the conversations as always. I wanted to write in with the best score I've ever had. We used to have a local flea market where I live that would be open every Saturday. It was cool because you could go and get food there. They would offer a kick-ass breakfast. Anyways, back in the late 2000s, I was really into collecting specifically for the NES and the Super NES. I had gotten some decent deals at this flea market, but nothing crazy. Until one Saturday when I came across an older couple selling a bunch of stuff, including a huge lot of SNES and NES games. The best part, each game was marked as $3 a piece or 3 for $10. They didn't care. They had no idea what they had. They simply just wanted to get rid of it. I got in a 3 for $10 deal from these people, both Little Samson and Flintstone Surprise at Dinosaur Peak. I honestly don't remember what the third game was because at the time I was in utter disbelief. I also got some good SNES games, but nothing as rare as the above. Overall, the best $10 I ever spent. I also never saw that couple at the flea market again.
So I read this.
I read that was this like a Goosebumps episode where like those people just disappeared as he walked away?
The third game he got was a monkey's paw, and then like the finger curled up when he bought the games.
Yeah.
There you go. Problem solved.
My theory about this is I have a good theory about what happened. So Little Samson and Flintstone Surprise at Dinosaur Peak, both famously Blockbuster only games.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my thought is this couple or someone they knew or whatever inherited a closed down Blockbuster or something, or bought everything out of a Blockbuster at some point and maybe just had it stored somewhere for a while, or like put it in a storage unit or whatever. And that's where it would make sense for them to have both of those games and to not know what they are. Because
exactly. You could have just been games their kids were playing, and they're like, well, they're done playing with them now.
Blockbuster closed in the middle of the Super Nintendo days, or maybe like the early 64 days. You packed it all up and put it away and forgot about it, and now you're cleaning the shit out and you want to sell it. So that's just a theory I have because that would make sense in my head as to what happened. Because remember when we got some games off of that woman who worked with a friend of ours? They had a rental store, and she had some games that she was able to get. And we tried to get her to. Can we just come see your unit? Like, but just let us go through it. But she
some of the stuff
she had a hard time letting go of the stuff that we got, which was like boxed Final Fantasy 2, a whole bunch of boxed Super Nintendo, a whole bunch of boxed 64 stuff. And she was like, she told him she had a bunch more, and we were just telling him like, just beg her to let us come see it.
Yeah,
and she would never let us go see it, which was a bummer because I'm sure she had tons of shit in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even think it doesn't say if I would assume he probably got these as just cartridge only.
Oh, I would assume so.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Most Blockbuster and like NES box
they cut up those boxes. That's what makes it crazy that I was able to get that copy of that Castlevania game for 64 with a complete box, not ripped up.
One of the 64 games I got from that one with the rental place, whatever it was Stunt Racer for 64.
That's right. Yeah, that was,
and it had a cut up box with it, so it was useless. But yeah, I mean, that's also how I got a copy of Final Fight Guy for Super Nintendo, was because the GameStop 15 minutes from us, some guy who used to have a rental store traded in a whole bunch of retro stuff to them. And as soon as they got it in, the manager of that store texted me, he's like, look what we got. And he showed me like Final Fight Guy, Gun Knack for Nintendo, like all this stuff that like even in the GameStop system was a couple $100. And I said, his name was Mark. I said, Mark, put that shit in a box behind the counter. I will be there in like 30 minutes. Cause I want to at least like verify that this shit is real for you. And sure. So I got in there and I looked at it. Final Fight Guy. I knew it was real because you flip it over and the back of it had a Property of Blockbuster Video sticker on it. I was like, that's probably real. But I opened it. I took my tool out and opened it up and I went, it's definitely real. And I said, all right, let me go get some stuff. So I traded in a bunch of shit and that's how I got Final Fantasy Guy. Cause like, that's the only copy of that I've seen.
Was that the game I found on your shelf the one day where I was like, oh, you do have a copy? What game was that?
That's Mighty Final Fight for Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
I used to love that one.
And you know what the weird part is?
That was
like,
a good one.
I remember where I got most of my stuff, or when I get it. I do not remember that one. I didn't remember I had it. Remember, you were just downstairs in the basement. You pulled it up.
Yeah, I was just looking through. Because it was literally just on like an episode of Game Chasers that I had seen, and I was like, oh, it looks like you have this. So I do.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Nintendo stuff. Because Nintendo stuff, I had a big box of it from before I really started collecting. So that was at a time where people would come into like Game Crazy with that stuff, and I would just buy them when they were like weird ones I hadn't seen, and I would just go home and put it in a box and put it in a box and put it in a box.
Yeah.
So I forgot all about it, and then so I must have picked that up at some point, but I clearly didn't pay anywhere near what that game is worth now.
No.
But
some good finds.
Nice finds.
I love the finds.
We love hearing all your emails. Please send them in. Send us more finds. We enjoy reading those emails.
For sure.
Send all your emails to podcast572@gmail.com.
There's another thing. So I would like finds. I would also like if any employees would tell us what's the craziest thing someone has traded in.
That's a good one.
Or is like
that's a good one.
I just like or tried to trade in where it was like some weird ass collector's edition or something like that where like you're just like, are you sure you want to trade this kind of thing?
I can still tell you one of my favorites was the kid that had bought a PS4 Gold headset like a couple days prior and came in and was like, I just don't like this.
Yeah,
we can't like return that. It was like past 30 days or something. Now I think about it, because you could return. Remember the shittiness of that. You could return them within 30 days.
Fucking worse.
But it was past that, and he's like, "Well, I just want to trade it in." And I'm like, "We don't." I had to find a SKU to take it in, because then I ended up buying it for like it was like $10.
Yeah, I mean,
No, it was like 10. I was fair.
But comparatively to what it should have been.
And that's how I got a gold headset. Hey, that was a great headset if you want to play games. Not very good for talking to people.
No. But that was like how I have that 2 terabyte Xbox One where the guy traded it in the next day.
Yeah.
He bought it. He's like, I used it once and I realized I really don't need it. And I was like, well, you can trade it. And he's like, whatever, man. And he just traded it for cash. And I said, well, it looks like I have a brand new 2 terabyte Xbox One.
Yeah.
Because that was back when like discounts and stuff worked on those, remember?
Yeah, I do.
So I just traded in my current one and got down instead.
No. But yeah, send us those emails as well. As always, thank you for listening, and we will be back in another 2 weeks with another edition of Podcast 572.
Thank you, everyone.
Stay safe.